Okay. Hey, everybody. Today's date is Wednesday. I had to think, oh my gosh, what day of the week is it? They've all been running together these last handful of weeks. But it is 12/11/24, December 11th, 2024. And I am here to do a brief Marlana moment update. As so many of you know, that I had court today. This was my first proceeding in family court since my illegal and unlawful arrest and imprisonment. And I'm going to continue to make that clear because that's absolutely what happened. I'm not getting into all the details as to why I know that definitively, and I've confirmed that with multiple attorneys, but I'm just going to say this was my first actual hearing, evidentiary hearing in family court since that trauma and unlawful and unjust separation of me and my daughter again. What I'm doing right now, and again, I'm still trying to figure all this out, y'all. So let's see. I'm looking on Instagram. It says we're telling your followers that you've started a live video. Hang on, we're telling more followers to join your video. Okay, great. So I guess Instagram is doing that. And there were multiple people, multiple friends that were asking to make sure that you all are actually able to see the live as a Facebook or a YouTube option. And so I'm just going to do a couple of quick texts just to do a check-in and make sure that you all can actually see this. So if you are already watching and this is delayed, I apologize. Give me 1 second. Because I don't really know how to make this work where I can actually chat live and maybe answer somebody else's questions. Let's see here. I see a private chat on my StreamYard. Oh, that looks like that is for anyone that might be on screen with me. And one of them does actually look like it's set up for anyone that might just join the live. So I don't actually want to be on too long. I did a live the other day that unfortunately, it was an hour and 20 minutes. And quite a few of you were actually joining me on Instagram. And I think many of you have gone back and seen it on Facebook or YouTube, one of the two. Wasn't a whole lot of live interaction there, but definitely on Instagram. And then we lost it. And I think maybe that's because, yep, I'm getting a message right now that says I don't see the live. Okay, so let me try to fix this. They tell you when you're using StreamYard not to also go on Facebook. Ah, okay, someone said they found it. Are you able to... How is this showing up on my Facebook? Is it showing up as I'm live right now? Is it showing up in a... it is showing that I'm live right now. Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure it was accessible. And I don't know, that's what it is. It's not showing up live to everybody. Okay, glad I could figure that out this time. All right, so that took a lot of getting ready. And so I apologize. If you were listening or if you're watching the replay and like, are we going to get this party started? I say it's a party because I do want to be celebratory, and I want to be celebratory and say thank you, heartfelt, thank you. You all showed up in a mighty, mighty powerful way. And by you all, it's probably those of you that are actually watching this. I realize I'm not going to give much energy to those that might be watching for nefarious purposes or stalkers. I'm going to speak to those of you that literally have carried me and my family through this ordeal. You know, I know many of you have said thank you for speaking on behalf of, you know, just the greater, you know, population of what we're going through, just trying to keep our kids safe within the context of family court as an underlying dynamic, right? When we have children that are not safe, oftentimes with the other side. Oftentimes, this being, dynamic that mothers are dealing with in post-separation abuse. And then, we also have the situation where, the CPS, Child Protection, DHS, it's called different names in different places. I know Pennsylvania is CYS. I've had some interaction with them, and they definitely had some involvement in my daughter's case that led to us losing 8 of her 10.5 years together. And so, unfortunately, what takes place, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Just send a wave on IG. I'm seeing a couple of you on Facebook, see a couple of hearts. Thank you so much. If you want to try to comment, please try. You can do a test. Let me do this. Let me see if I can communicate with you by doing a test and see if you can respond. Because definitely, if there are some questions I can answer, I'm going to try to do that. And if not, that's okay too. But anyways, yeah, we're also finding that unfortunately, all too often, when there is an underlying family court matter going on, police and CPS tend to follow suit. Whatever's happening in the family courts, they rubber stamp it. And, even though they are specifically paid to protect and serve, that somehow gets lost in translation. I just want to send a huge shout out to the advocates and, parents, even congresspeople, right? Senators in Tulsa County right now that are working on a grand jury petition, right, to address the state's DHS system that apparently, patternistically, even though it occurred at a child advocacy center in Oklahoma to my daughter, apparently that's a pattern across Oklahoma's 70-something counties. And I'm very saddened to hear that. I've been an Oklahoma resident since 2021. And for the most part, Oklahoma has been my safe place, right? My safe, stable, nonviolent environment. I'm still thankful for those that are there. And of course, if you're ever watching this, you all know who you are, my safe people out there in Oklahoma. But now, unfortunately, due to this family court nightmare, family court crisis, my family court story, on the other side of this illegal and unlawful arrest and imprisonment at a child advocacy center cooperating with Texas and Oklahoma CPS and Texas law enforcement, it hasn't felt that way. And it's not just that it hasn't felt that way, it hasn't been that way. But today was the first family court action evidentiary hearing because they went ahead and orchestrated an official oppression, this false arrest and imprisonment. They were then able to backdoor, then go into family court and say, hey, alert, alert, she's been arrested. There's this interference with child custody thing. And so now we need to protect the child and coaching and alienation. And she's a flight risk and we need her passport and we need to cut all communication until she gets psychologically evaluated because her son died and she doesn't cry right. Like literally, these are the things in the pleading. And so I don't know how much I'm going to share. I actually thought it might be kind of cool so that you all would actually know what I was up against today, to know if you've seen my posts of just thankfulness of you all just standing by, standing watch, praying me through it. And just also saying, yes, I'm planning a party for my baby girl again in her return after today, within 9 days, to be able to spend time together. Now, it is not the custody arrangement that I got and fought 8 years to get back to. But it's also not what Dad and his attorney were fighting for either. They were actually fighting to say, let's cut off all contact. That was their preference. And then they said, well, if we don't cut off all contact, well, then let's make mom have to be in the county that has been oppressive against her for years, that has now orchestrated 2 illegal, unlawful arrests. The first in 2022, after he assaulted me on video, the officer watched it and still arrested me on Mother's Day. And by the way, he was slurring, right? There are voicemails for that. There was video for that. And they arrested me after being assaulted in his home. And of course, thankfully, at least, Denton County DA didn't want to have anything to do with it. They did not pick up charges, just like I don't expect them to collude and cooperate with this interesting situation. I'll just say that. That's me being nice. So anyways, they wanted me to stay within 5 miles of his home in Denton County, in the colony. And sorry if I had to fight, no thank you, right? I like to be in places that are truly safe because they have law-abiding, not law-breaking and terrorizing law enforcement. I don't want to get into a law enforcement debate. Some people feel certain ways about it. Others feel certain ways. For me personally, here's my take. I don't want to live in a society without law enforcement. That is being lawful, right? They have their place. They serve their purpose when they truly protect and serve in society. I want to say thank you to all of the men and women of law enforcement that absolutely do keep us safer. But for those that make it worse and make it horrible for the good ones, those are the ones that know I don't want to have to be attached to and hang out in dad's backyard or in their jurisdiction where they are continuing to engage in illegal activities to silence me and ultimately witness tamper, right? Because that's really what they did to me and my daughter. No, I didn't want that. And so I was able to respectfully assert that, the reasons why. And thankfully, the judge that was presiding over the proceedings today didn't go for that. Their third one is if she doesn't have to stay within 5 miles. Now, remember, I live actually almost 2 hours away in Oklahoma. Then we need to make sure it's supervised. We need to make her pay to be able to see her child. And of course, in 2015, when I was actually a client of an area agency, and because I was a client, they were willing to take our case. Dad wouldn't set it up. He wouldn't get it going. And this is when I had custody. They were supervised visits for him. After only 2 hours, right? Things changed. They should not have. I'm not getting that deep into the weeds. And then, of course, from the 2016 order, when I started pursuing visitation through another agency, where I was on the receiving end of that in 2022, 2023, 2024, he would not cooperate and participate at all. So he was actually interfering with my child custody. And again, my daughter and I have lost over 8 of her 10.5 years together. And I kept fighting and got her back, only to be right back here after basically a full day March hearing, getting her back mid-April due to, unfortunately, necessary TRO and then protective orders. They were all temporary ex parte. They were signed by 3 different judges, definitely outlining every concern that I had, as well as attaching evidence like me complying with court orders and taking her to the Midway Police Department in Texas, Dad not showing up there, and just all the crisis that broke out literally 5 days after the judge told him, sir, you need to start turning your daughter over. But of course, in his jurisdiction, they don't want to talk about interference with child custody when it pertains to him. Some of you have actually posted that Easter Sunday video where literally the officer is poking fun of like, hey, I'm trying to learn about this Our Family Wizard Act, which was not in our court orders. It had nothing to do with the price of tea in China. But again, you know, they can be very selective and biased with these laws. We've talked a lot about those dynamics. And so, yeah, I'm thankful that they did not get that. I'm thankful that they didn't go through a whole process and get this whole, you know, she has to be psychologically evaluated. That was the other stipulation. No contact at all until psychologically evaluated, because allegedly she coached x-rays and medical records. I now realize how they were able to reach that. I will just say 2 officers, the one that was a part of the fraud-filled arrest warrant affidavit that drafted it, and then her school resource officer actually appeared as witnesses today. And they basically denied any knowledge of, you know, were their doctor's notes being submitted? Hey, the court order said if she doesn't come back, that I need to notice parent A, which is dad in the school, instead of them calling it a rambling email, which again, it's gaslighting, it's demeaning, it's dismissing, it's deflecting, it's DARVO, deny, attack, reverse, victim, offender. Oh my gosh, as officers, we actually have to read an email, and we don't know if there was a doctor's note in there. And we don't know that you had mentioned that there was medical neglect and strangulation. And no, there was actually no active investigation on dad October 21st or on November 1st, when we saw the need to act against mom in collusion and at the request of the school. Right, because I had also let the school know that there were some things that had been reported by my daughter that they were doing that I needed them to agree we will not do if I return her. And so a lot was revealed. You know, you go to court, it's very stressful. A lot of you know that I started this morning around 4 a.m. I was doing finishing touches on my prep, and about 7-ish, I lost it. And I put some posts and SOS out there saying, y'all, literally my brain, my body is shutting down. It did. And it was horrific, right? And I honestly didn't know if I was even going to be able to stand not faint, and just keep going. Thankfully, had some warriors able to pray me through it, and just had to get up and make it happen, and then had transportation challenges and had to orchestrate an alternative ride. Thankfully, they had another case. It was a protective order hearing. They were able to hear first with an attorney. So when I walked in, bailiff actually said, "You're fine, perfect timing," which is great. And then it was a battle. I don't want to get into too many details, because what I will say is that we do have another proceeding, which is temporary orders, January 29th, 9 a.m. That is scheduled, that is on the docket. And temporary orders are when either party files what they call a suit affecting parent-child relationship in Texas, right? It's not a divorce proceeding, but basically it's a custody proceeding. For us, it's to do that within 1 year, right? Because we just had new orders that were signed March 26th with a different judge, and now we've been transferred into a new court. And of course, that makes things exhausting. It also allows, if you're not on your P's and Q's, for counsel to try to, dishonest counsel, attorneys, to try to basically testify, which they are not supposed to be doing, to try to submit facts that are not in evidence, which they're not supposed to be doing, but to create this flurry of motions and smoke and mirrors and try to tell the new judge or the new proceedings, this is what's happened in the past, even if it's fraudulent, even if it's perjured. That's what a lot of dishonest, unethical attorneys will do. And so you really have to stay on your P's and Q's. And objecting, I'm not giving legal advice, I'm not an attorney, don't play one on TV. But as I've also been studying, there's a great program I'm going to share with those. If you say, "Hey, program, send me a message," I'll shoot it over to you. As I've been learning, you have to protect your record. Today, I think, was the first time in 11 years that I had to assertively, yet respectfully, to Your Honor, protect my record. And so it was a battle. But you all prayed, you all stood by, you stood watch, you all continued to remind me who I am, even when I didn't feel confident in who I was or what was going to happen. I fully expected to show up, and I didn't expect the challenges. I do believe there probably was some warfare going on. And again, some believe in that, some don't, but y'all prayed through it. So I just have to say thank you. Some of the things I think I stated, what kind of possession schedule they wanted. Initially, I had first, third, and fifth. When we went to our modification hearing in March, technically I had filed that suit back in November of 2023. Dad actually was served, never filed an answer, and I walked into court that day asking for a default. My return of service had been on file for 10 days, so technically I should have gotten that default. But the judge said, "You know what, he didn't file an answer, but let's just skip that part. At least he's here in court today, so we're going to proceed." So the reality is I should have been able to get what I pled for in March. But again, if we're selective and choosing who we're going to follow laws, codes for, that's what happens. And then if you're pro se, or if you have an attorney, if you don't fight and challenge to keep the system, whether it's attorneys, judges, law enforcement officers, CPS workers, if you don't keep them on their P's and Q's by playing full-time around-the-clock attorney where you can't work, live life, take care of your children, or do other things, then they get away with it. And it just snowballs, right? And so, that's the visitation that I did have first, third, fifth weekends, because of course I live over 100 miles. I had expanded standard summer possession with notice by April 1st, which meant she was supposed to spend the entire summer with me anyways. And so, I went from literally not having my baby girl and being told by Dad's second mom, who was a licensed professional counselor supervisor and counselor for Collin County CPS in her background. I'll get into that later. She told me finally in 2021 when they had a 6-week-old and she was realizing, wait, this isn't working with him. And by the way, his daughter's mother's probably not crazy. Let me reach out to her. Yeah, that happened. And she told me, since 4, my daughter has been crying out for me. She never stopped crying out for me, which is literally a work of God, because too many suffer in silence, suffer loudly with how their children, many of us use the word alienation because it is disputed, junk science, discredited by psychological associations. But it is the only disease diagnosed by lawyers. Imagine that, as non-mental health professionals. And so with all of that said, yeah, we had fought to get back into a good place where she had her mom back in her life as she wanted, and I had her back as my daughter, as I wanted, and prayed and fought 8 years. And so it is a bit of a step back, but considering with what I was arrested and jailed for, interference with child custody, which is a state jail felony in the state of Texas, and Texas is #1 state trying to help spread this ideology of punishing mothers for protecting. Based on all those dynamics and the past that I had before of, yes, continuing to protect my children and getting caught in what I call the child protection catch-22, most of you know that are familiar with legal abuse, post-separation abuse, all of these different abuser playbook dynamics. Most of you know I shouldn't have even walked out with that. So I am considering it a victory. I am actually seeing some of your comments now. So thank you so much, Chrissy. I see, yes, hello, great to see you live and updating us. You're one strong mama. Thank you so much, love. You are as well. I appreciate you. All of your strength going strong since 2015 as you have survived your own battles going through this. So I appreciate you. Claudia, good to see you, love. Miss Kristen, God helped you through it. And so glad to help. It went better than what you were expecting. Absolutely, it did. Absolutely went better than what I was expecting. I love it. I love it. Jesse, good to see you. Okay, now I'm seeing your comments. I'm excited. I'm not here by myself. I knew you all would be here, so definitely good to see y'all. Good to have positive updates, right? Because honestly, I didn't know what to expect. And so that was, yeah, it was scary, but honestly, you all continuing to keep watch. I see Salt Wada Mommy, it looks like. Thank you for those hearts. I see it. Purple's my favorite color. I don't want to hit the screen and do too much because I'll probably mess it up. I'm not that seasoned yet, but I'm trying to get better. And I'm going to also try to do a better job of updating you all more as things are going on, because even though we've gotten to this point that we were trying to get to last Thursday, and just kind of waiting to see what is the family court's going to do, right? We did have a visiting judge today, and I'll be honest, the first 20 minutes aside was kind of rough, and basically it seemed like everything that I was motioning and moving the court for, denied, overruled, you know, and you know, it wasn't looking good. But at some point in the process, and again, I don't want to disclose too much of what's going on inside the courtroom and active litigation, I think I was able to get some things out that in the questioning of the 2 officers, because they were the only witnesses we could put on. I had 2 witnesses. We couldn't get to them. It was 20 minutes aside. It's definitely not enough time. After I stated that in the beginning, counsel tried to say, can I get more time? And I had to remind the judge, I asked for that in the beginning. We said no, so let's, you know, we kind of got to do the same thing for both respectfully. But honestly, she was very, I feel like she was very thorough to then make sure she could hear both of us. I'm not going to say everything went the way that it was supposed to be, fully and totally, with all parties. I'll just say that. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, I think with the dynamics and the intensity and the limited time, I won't have anything bad or horrible to say about this judge. I'll just say this. And so I'm thankful for how it turned out. Thank you so much, Daryl. I appreciate that amazing strength and perseverance. Definitely, it comes from God. It comes from all of you. And yes, you all are reminded me, I guess I have a little bit of in me. So thank you for that. It's very easy when you're constantly fighting battles that you feel like you're not winning and you're getting clobbered and just destroyed over and over again to forget who you are. And so I appreciate you all for those reminders and inspiration, also in seeing and hearing y'all's stories and knowing your backgrounds and what you have fought through and continued to move forward with. So I appreciate that. Let's see, what were some other things? I don't know how much of this I'm going to fully and totally get into. Here's what I will say. There is a lot of work to be done between now and January 29th. A lot of work. Hey, Holly, good to see you, love. Good to see you, beautiful. Glad that you're on with us. Appreciate all of those hearts and all the love. January 29th is a temporary orders hearing because we both have now filed modification suits seeking to change custody arrangements, me to change the alleged current 2016 order. I'll explain more of that later. And Dad, of course, wanting to get rid of, she should have never had access after March. We have to have temporary orders now. And again, in Collin County, it's 20 minutes per side without motion, without leave of court. That means you file a motion in advance and you explain to the court why we need more than 20 minutes, and they may or may not give it to you. Again, we're in a newly formed court, the 494th District Court, with the Honorable Catherine L. Pruitt. She has not, she did sign the ex parte TRO based on its application under penalty of perjury. So it wasn't evidentiary. It was based on everything that they're claiming. It sounds really bad. This bomb sounds horrible. She was just arrested. They're saying she's a flight risk. They're saying 100+ different allegations that if they were true and I was a judge, I would have signed it too. But again, we have not actually been before her in an evidentiary hearing. She is out right now. Again, today was an administrative assignment, and hopefully we'll actually get to meet and be under that judge January 29th. So I'm looking forward to meeting her, looking forward to the proceedings, of course, in official capacity, never trying to reach out to a judge personally, but looking forward to that and the preparation. I am going to be very discerning and mindful of what I share live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or any social media platforms, but I am going to continue to connect because I do appreciate the huge efforts that have gone forward with national organizations as well as individuals. All of you have made all the difference in the world, and so I want to do my best to continue to pour back out, let you all know what's going on, keep you up to date, as again, your cases, your fights, your battles, your concerns, matters of public interest and concern are mine are yours. So I'm going to do the best that I can while also pacing and balancing myself, my energy, and all that is before me. I will say, for those proceedings in January, my goal is absolutely to have counsel. They had allegedly a forensic interview done after they tampered with one witness, the mom, and put me in jail of my daughter. And that was asked to be viewed in camera, and apparently in Texas, because pro se litigants are not attorneys, though I don't know how this is lawful and fair, but apparently there's a rule that allows it. The judge was able to view that forensic report. Dad's attorney already had it, but I couldn't even see it. So if anyone's ever heard of that before, confirmation that that's how it goes, please let me know. Confirmation that no, that's not how that goes. I'm going to say that it probably is how it went, but there can't be any evidence pertaining to my daughter that they're alleging, especially the way that those witnesses showed up today, that I don't have access to. So I definitely have to get an attorney, I will tell you, because our case is so complex. You know, attorneys that I've spoken with all of the dynamics and history that's extensive, 10+ year history, you know, they've said 10 to 15,000 retainers just to get caught up on all the details, all the facts, and we may not even get to a hearing 12 days later. So yes, I do have an active and live GoFundMe. I'm going to start circulating that again, ask you all to please give as much as you can, share as much as you can, because I cannot do that by myself. Yes, I am self-employed. There's work that I do. Also helping people to have affordable access to attorneys. This is not necessarily for family court per se in the I would say offering and great value that it is for every other aspect of your life, but definitely some discounts are available there as well. So I'm going to be working, probably going to be doing some other driving and work as well. And then of course fundraising, because all truth be told is this is a full-time job. It's actually probably 2 or 3 full-time jobs. And yes, I do want to plan a welcome back party for my baby girl. She's not here now, but our first time together again will be on the 21st. It is unsupervised. It will be in North Texas. So if you're local and you're available, I'll say probably sometime between 10 and 6, definitely shoot me a message, let me know. We'll probably get together and just have some fun, maybe like family fun time, not the entire time. So maybe if you brought an hour or 2, so definitely want to have just some personal mommy, daughter, and maternal family time. I know she's missed that. I know we've missed that. Even though they claim, oh, she's perfectly fine, right? You know, she's got all of us, police and school and dad. So again, she didn't need you for 8 years. But at this point, you all get the point. If you're in North Texas, you'd love to connect, We'd love to be able to see you. And of course, most of you that are watching, we know personally. Those of you that were meeting and connecting online, again, probably meet in a public place somewhere and just enjoy every moment with our children. It's the holiday season. I want to send huge hearts, love, prayers out and up for those of you that unfortunately due to these systems are without your children. Some you have lost children permanently, not directly due to family court. Many of you know I lost my son Josh. It was 8 months ago. And by the way, I'll be sharing a little bit more about that. Because I'll be some big developments in that situation, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Okay. So those of you that have lost children permanently, you know, it is literally the worst grief you could ever suffer is to lose a child. They're not supposed to precede us in death, as most of us feel anyways. And then for those of you that are separated due to these unjust dynamics with family court, CPS, police, I know this is a painful time of year. And so while we're being celebratory, I want you to know that I still hold you, your children, your situations in my heart, right? In my head, in my mind. And I'm going to continue to speak out for you because I understand, again, one of our stories is the other stories. There, of course, is going to be various different dynamics, but generally we're in the realm of same script, different cast. We're in this together. And so with that, sending love and prayers for you and your children as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Saltwater Mommy. And let's see, Maiko's mom, 7. Thank you so much. Let's see, it's wise to be cautious about what you share. Yes, Kristen, absolutely. Definitely want to do that. Hey, look, I love that I posted something on my Facebook yesterday. Of course, I have the Marlana Christopher account that I've had for I think 2.5, maybe 3 years now. And then I have my Marlana Yvette Christopher account. And of course, if you ever have to wonder, is this really her? I tag both accounts together. So that's how you know the ones that are me. So if another account pops up reporting to be me, it's not me. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that. What was I going to say? I think I just lost it. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm actually going to crash after this is over. Because I just need sleep. This has been exhausting. But yeah, I am going to also say to you all this, those that really want to stay close to the fire, be part of, sharing posts, supporting in any way, I'm going to ask you to reach out to me and just say, hey, include me, right? Or, hey, I'm here. Because I am going to really, like you said, be wise and cautious. Oh, that's what I was saying. Thank you. I just kind of lost. Where was I? I'm going to be wise and cautious. And so for those of you that are really in the fight, you're paying attention when I post, you're on it, you're responding. I want to be able to make sure that I can connect with you all quicker, faster, more frequently than perhaps my public pages, because yes, that is being watched by the opposition. I don't say anything publicly that I haven't said or wouldn't say privately, so I don't really worry about it much. But again, it's kind of like anything you say can and will be used against you, and they always find a way to spin everything. But thankfully, in this part of Texas, I posted how we have a now elected justice who at one point was an honorable judge in our case, and she has actually taught to bar associations her belief as a Harvard and Stanford law graduate that she does believe any form of gag order and restriction in family law matters is unconstitutional. So that's one of the things that I do admire and appreciate from her, even though obviously I didn't agree with every decision she made. But she made some good ones in the end, and I'm thankful for that. I'm glad that she believes that. And then, of course, I also shared another huge case out of Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area. I believe Jeff Younger case. I'm not going to get into the details, and I'm not trying to debate the details of that case. What I'm saying is his custody case and him talking about it online was something that literally elicited the response of officials all the way up to Attorney General Ken Paxton and Texas Governor Greg Abbott. And so I think if we are responsible in what we share and don't do too much, but of course, what's too much and what's not is different for everyone. There's no judgment when I say that. There's some things we try to, and I definitely try to be careful about. I am not a component in any shape, form, fashion, or degree of doxing. That means sharing the names, addresses, private phone numbers, emails of anybody involved in any legal matter whatsoever. That is including but not limited to my daughter's father, and obviously where my daughter is. I've said before, I don't want anyone showing up at her school in her jurisdiction. At this point, there's nobody I'm attached to, and y'all have been amazing. Nobody has threatened them. They will claim that. That's a strategy. But again, it's not anything that anyone should take any serious look at in the courts, because I'm going to remain responsible. And I think that as long as we do that, for the most part, they honor our right to free speech. And so I do want to be able to share a little bit more with those of you that are truly our tribe, right? One of the things I've always told Mariah is don't fight. You know, don't fight anyone. If we get separated, just know that God is still in full and total control. Your mom is not going anywhere. I will never leave you, and your army's coming. And when I say your army's coming, it's literally just showing up the way that y'all have. To stand by and stand watch, right? If appropriate, to reach out and ask some questions and make some respectful requests, do that. If it's just sharing awareness, to say, hey, this is happening, alert, alert, alert. We need to remain watchful. Y'all have done that. And again, all those things are perfectly legal, lawful, safe, and appropriate. Thank you for not making me a liar. Now, my daughter is 10. Hopefully she's not on social media watching all this kind of stuff. I'm sure that Dad is controlling that. And again, if she sees anything, she sees Mom promised to never leave, and that there were people that cared about her and I. And ultimately, we're not going anywhere, right? A lot of disparaging remarks and things have been said to her over the years. Over those many years, she was told that I was a kidnapper, that I was in jail, that I was dead. And her name was actually changed fraudulently by filing fraudulent affidavits saying that there was no way to reach me while Dad and I were emailing that week. So there was a lot that has gone on to try to erase the attachment and the parent-child bond between me and my daughter. And thankfully, God didn't let it. Her heart didn't let it. My heart didn't let it. And looks like none of us together are going to let it at this point. And I believe they understand that's the bottom line. So I'm going to work to get along with Dad and whoever is attached to my daughter the best way that I can. I always have. And of course, I don't have control over other people's participation in that either. But I'm going to do the best that I can. And I'm going to do the best that I can to hopefully be an example of great strength from the standpoint of, if you're watching my journey and inspired in any way, that hopefully you don't give up either, even if it takes 8 years. There's light at the end of the tunnel, right? And then, of course, I'm going to be honest, I might be a little bit selfish. I get a lot of strength from all of you. So again, thank you. With that, I don't see any other new comments or any questions that y'all have, any brief questions, anything, as I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I don't want to make these too long. We're at about 38 minutes. I also don't really plan a whole lot before doing these to be really scripted. I like to just kind of be free-flowing, whatever I'm feeling in the moment. And so I think that's all I'm going to really address at this point. Thank you, Kirsty. I see. Yes, love, take care of you and all this. Thank you so much, Holly. I appreciate you, doing my best. And then Kirsty, good info. So elated for you and your baby girl. Yes, me too. Can't wait to see her again. And so with that, just want to wish you all a wonderful Wednesday. Oh my goodness. It's also a Wealth Wednesday. Before life started changing at a rapid pace and going completely off the rails for me. Look, I'm getting a call. We got a couple phones going off. Like, what is this about? Anyways, before that started happening, I was doing Wealth Wednesday. So I'm going to be returning to that. And that means I'll see some of my business partners here in just a minute. Got to work and make money and figure out what life looks like on the other side of these constant battles. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and shut this live down and look forward to connecting with y'all soon. But again, if you want to be kind of more closely connected, I'm not going to share what that looks like, and really truly a part of the team. Garnering support, staying close to the fire, reach out, send me some type of message, and I'll make sure that you're included. Other than that, get to connect with all of you. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Bye.